Ladies and gentlemen, today we will discuss the C8 ZR1 versus the world. All right, boys and girls, as you can see, I am back on the Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum where they are giving away a beautiful 2024 C8 Z06 that is a convertible with the Z07 package on it. And it is in torch red. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, this thing is coming to an end, and it ends on August 11th. So between now and then, because you are a Brink of Speed watcher, you will get 40% more for your tickets when you click on this right here, which you will find these linked in the description and the pinned comment below. But click on this, you'll see it says 40 already in there, and then you fill out all of your information here. And as soon as you're done with that, it'll ask for credit card information, fill that out, and you are all entered to win. So good luck, everyone. I cannot wait to see who wins this car. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Brink of Speed. Today, I am super excited to get into this video with you because the new C8 ZR1 is absolutely ridiculous, and I believe that GM has definitely challenged the whole world. So we are going to discuss a lot of different cars that it's challenging nowadays. Hypercars, supercars, you name it. But before we get into that, please do me a huge favor. Smash that thumbs up button and let's get going. So I think we can all agree that GM shocked the whole world with their new ZR1. Although we don't have all the numbers and information, the numbers we do have are shocking. 1,064 horsepower, 828 foot-pounds of torque, top speed comfortably over 215 miles per hour, quarter mile well under 10 seconds, and over 150 mile an hour trap speed, which is over 20 miles an hour faster than the 2019 ZR1 in the quarter mile, which is absolutely insane. GM did something that we clearly didn't expect them to do with this variant. We were all waiting to hear a much smaller number than 1,064 horsepower. We expected the final variant to have around 1,000 horsepower with all-wheel drive, which they would have called Zora. But GM had much bigger goals. The new twin-turbo LT7 was quoted as a race engine for the streets. It has the largest turbos at 76 millimeters ever strapped onto a V8 engine, and they together produce 37 pounds of thrust from the center quad pipes out the back, and shooting an 18-inch flame as well. One could say GM shot for the moon but landed on the sun. But how good will this new ZR1 be, and can it compete with the rest of the supercar, hypercar world? So, what were GM's intentions with this new ZR1 beast? Today, we will take a look at its competition and compare it as closely as we can with everything we know so far about the ZR1. First thing is first, let's start with the platform. We know it's a mid-engine rear-wheel drive car. It weighs over 3,700 pounds dry and has 1,064 horsepower with 828 foot-pounds of torque. Its engine is a flat-plane crank twin-turbo V8, named the LT7 and revs to 8,000 RPM. And putting all that power down is a beefed up 8-speed dual clutch transmission. Its 0 to 60 is estimated around 2.4 to 2.6 seconds, quarter mile between 9.5 and 9.7 seconds, top speed of 220 miles an hour plus, and price is unknown, but my guess is around 160 to 170,000 base. So now let's take a look at its competition. I've assembled the top supercar hypercars with 1,000 plus horsepower to compare to this new ZR1, so maybe we can figure out how it fits within this small circle. Now keep in mind, there are many more cars out there with over 1,000 horsepower, but these were the ones that I believe are closest to what the ZR1's performance is gonna be. So up first, we have the Lamborghini Revuelto. This is the replacement to the Aventador. And just like the ZR1 replacing the 2019 ZR1 and adding an extra 300 horsepower, well, this bad boy does kind of the same. With its huge 6.5 liter V12 supplemented with 3 electric motors, it produces 1,001 horsepower and 793 foot-pounds of torque. It is all-wheel drive and weighs a whopping 4,450 pounds. This also includes an 8-speed DCT. Its 0 to 60 is 2.3 seconds, quarter mile time of 9.7 seconds, top speed of 218 miles an hour, and price at $608,000 starting. So while this car costs $608,000, I think you can agree that the performance specs are very similar. Up next, the Designz D12. This is a French-built hypercar. Now, this is something new I have really not seen a lot about, but I had seen it before, and we're going to discuss it. It has a massive 7.6-liter V12 and electric motor that combined produces 1,100 horsepower and 794 foot-pounds of torque. It is a rear-wheel drive and only weighs 3,064 pounds. It also has an 8-speed DCT. Its 0 to 60 is 2.4 seconds, quarter mile is unknown, top speed of 224 miles an hour, and the price is $2.3 million. So here's a car that has similar performance specs that cost over $2 million more than this ZR1 is going to cost. Pretty crazy. All right, up next. You guys are all familiar with a Dodge Demon 170, and this is not a great comparison, but I wanted to bring it in because it's another American-made car that has over 1,000 horsepower, and it's an American drag racer's dream. And we know that this new ZR1 is still going to be phenomenal at the drag strip. So this has a 6.2-liter supercharged Hemi V8 and claims 1,025 horsepower and 945 foot-pounds of torque as long as you put E85 in the tank. That's one thing that's so amazing about the new ZR1. It reaches 1,064 horsepower on pump gas. So this is a rear-wheel drive car. It weighs 4,280 pounds, and it puts all that power down with an 8-speed auto transmission. It does 0 to 60 in a crazy 1.66 seconds, the quarter mile in 8.9 seconds, has a top speed of 215 miles an hour, and the price comes in base around $100,000. So a huge bang for your buck there if you're a drag strip person and you want to get Dodge's latest Demon. Now, number 4, this car is absolutely one of my favorite new hypercars. It's the Mercedes AMG 1. This is Mercedes' answer to the Porsche at the Nürburgring. As you know, they had the Nürburgring fastest time with their GT2 RS of 6 minutes and 43 seconds until the AMG 1 came along. This F1-inspired beauty has a V6 turbo with 4 electric motors helping it reach 1,049 horsepower. The torque couldn't be provided because of how complex the drive system is, but you've got to imagine it's way up there. It is a rear-wheel drive and weighs 3,737 pounds, and it puts all that power down with a 7-speed single-clutch transmission. The 0 to 60 is 2.9 seconds, quarter mile of 10.2, top speed of 219 miles an hour, and the price is just around $2.8 million starting. So again, another car that's well over $2.5 million more than the ZR1. And as you can see, the performance specs are quite a bit less than what the ZR1 is going to do. So very interesting there. However, I'm not saying that the ZR1 will compete with this car at the Nürburgring. This car hit 6 minutes and 35 seconds there. I don't believe the ZR1 is capable of doing that. But let's move on. Number 5, we have the Aston Martin Valkyrie. This is Aston Martin's answer to the AMG 1. This is also an F1-inspired beauty that has a 6.5-liter naturally aspirated V12 with an electric motor as well, helping it reach 1,160 horsepower and 682 torque. It is all-wheel drive and weighs 2,987 pounds, so super light, and it comes with a single clutch transmission. 0 to 60 is 2.2 seconds, quarter mile, 7.7 seconds. That is insane. It has a top speed of 220 miles an hour, and the price is right around $3 to $4 million, just depending on options and how you spec the thing out. So another crazy hypercar with 1,160 horsepower. That's almost 100 more horsepower than the ZR1. And the quarter mile is insane. It's under 8 seconds. So this car really, you can't compare too much with the ZR1, except for maybe with the top speed, maybe the 0 to 60. Other than that, it is way better than even the AMG 1 because of how light the car is. But let's go ahead and move on to the number 6 2024 Ferrari SF90 XX Stradale. Now, I was going to do just the regular SF90, but I figured I would throw the Stradale in because it has over 1,000 horsepower and the regular SF90 has a little under 1,000. Plus, the Stradale is more like a ZTK ZR1. So this is Ferrari's race version of the SF90. It has a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 with electric motors helping it reach 1,016 horsepower and 739 foot-pounds of torque. It also is all-wheel drive and weighs around 3,800 pounds. It uses a DCT to put down all of that power. Now, the 0 to 60 on this car is 1.9 seconds. Absolutely bonkers. Quarter mile of around 9.4, which is probably going to be similar to the ZR1. Top speed of 199 miles an hour. And the only reason why it's not over 200 is because of that massive rear wing that you're seeing on this car. But the price is almost $900,000 starting. And as you know, with Ferraris, everything's a la carte. So when you start adding little features here, there, and everywhere, you're probably going to push it close to $1.5 million and maybe even $2 million. But that's the 6 that I wanted to go over. So now that you've seen most of its competition, there's one thing that comes into mind, and that is, even if this ZR1 does cost $200,000, it would still be a bargain of a lifetime. Now, GM, please don't take that statement and run the price up. Please don't do that. But seriously, GM hit a number that all of these manufacturers except the other American manufacturer and the giant 7.6-liter V12 Delage were only able to hit by strapping on electric motors and going hybrid. That all by itself is incredibly profound. Not to mention, only the Demon 170 costs less than the ZR1, and only 2 of the other cars were under $1 million. The Lambo and the Ferrari. The other 3 were between $2 and $4 million. All of these cars were very close in the performance categories as well, which is pretty interesting since they all vary big time in weight. I believe this is the first time that we can actually compare a Corvette to a multi-million-dollar supercar and have them beat or have very similar performance outcomes. Now, like I said in the beginning, there are still lots of unknowns with the new ZR1, but based off of what we do know, I think we can safely say GM's intention was to disrupt the whole supercar and hypercar world with their new C8 ZR1. The C8 Stingray really helped start their supercar goals and ambitions. The Z06 and E-Ray took them many steps closer, and now this new ZR1 has landed them smack dab in the middle with company I never thought GM would go after. So let me know what you think. Tell me your thoughts on the 6 cars that I compared to the ZR1. Also, what are your thoughts about GM putting themselves in such rare company? Should they be playing in this space? And what do you ultimately think about this new ZR1? I think it's really cool that GM surprised us with this huge horsepower number. And I hope that the track performance numbers are similar to some of the competition I showed you today. There still isn't enough aero and downforce to be able to compete with cars like the AMG 1 and the Aston Martin Valkyrie. Sure, it should be easily able to compete with the Ferrari and the Lambo on a road course track. As we know, they were testing the ZR1 with the SF90 for months. But I personally would love to see a super low Nürburgring time, maybe in the high 630s or low 640s. But who knows if we will ever see that time from GM at the Nürburgring. Anyway, let me know your thoughts about the comparison video and if you think GM knocked it out of the park with this new ZR1. I hope each and every one of you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you guys out on the road.